So it looks like a few players have been cut, some players that potentially could be traded for. The question is, should the San Francisco 49ers give these players a shot via trade or, hey, sign them, give them a shot or whatever? And we'll go through each one. There's 3 of them, and we'll see if I think the 49ers should pick them up or not. Let's go ahead and jump into the very first one, which is the not the latest one, but the one that's kind of been lingering around the most, which is Terry McLaurin from the Commanders. Terry McLaurin is looking for a new contract. It's the final year of his deal. He wants, I'm guessing, something more than $30+ million, which is, I think he's totally worth it. He will be 30 in September. So if you gave him a 2-year extension, 3-year extension, the latest he'll be 32 by the time he's a free agent again. The man has not had a drop off. He is a top 10 wide receiver, bar none. Okay, he does not go past that. He's a phenomenal wide receiver, fast, great hands. He's a really reliable target. And if the Commanders don't want to give him a contract and don't want to pay him that, I think they're absolutely fracking crazy, dude. Jaden Daniels needs Terry McLaurin. Debo's not going to do it, okay? As a 49ers fan, Debo is not going to make it happen. He's not going to be your wide receiver. Don't even count him as a wide receiver. He can't run routes at all. He can handle some zone, sure, but if you just man him up, it's over, okay? It's absolutely over. The 49ers, if they were to trade for him, I would absolutely love it. Can they afford to do it, though? That is the main question. Can they afford the $30 million that he wants? I don't think so. What would have to happen, which is what some people are talking about, which I don't think is possible, because I'll just break down for you. Potentially trading Brandon Ayuk for Terry McLaurin. If that were to happen, you would have to give up more than just Brandon Ayuk, because Brandon Ayuk has an injury situation, especially with that ACL, MCL situation there. His career might not be the same player, and most likely he won't be back until middle of the season. Terry McLaurin, you get him right away. He's fully healthy. He's ready to go. He's a few years older than Brandon Ayuk, sure, but you have more of a player that's ready to go that'll help you week 1 while you have another player that's questionable, or if he's even good enough to play. So you would have to give up like another pick of some kind, potentially even another player, whatever it may be, to get Terry McLaurin. And you would have to ask the Commanders to be like, okay, well, you take on his salary. That I just don't see happening. So trading for Terry McLaurin, I just don't think it's possible. The Commanders would have to do the 49ers favors. I understand Adam Peters is good friends with John Lynch. I get that correlation happening there. But, I mean, a lot of things would have to go the 49ers' way for that trade to happen. They would have to dump a player, in my eyes, to get Terry McLaurin, because Terry McLaurin's going to ask for $30+ million for at least 2-3 years. The man is 29 years old, and he has not lost a step. And I'm not going to lie to you, I would trust Terry McLaurin than I do Brandon Ayuk. Call me crazy. I don't even before his injury or whatever, before that, whole contract situation, I would have Terry McLaurin over Brandon Ayuk in 2023, if you were to ask me. Terry McLaurin is a very good wide receiver, very reliable. Like I said, super fast, to top off the defense, great hands. I mean, this is somebody you if you get an opportunity to trade him, there's potential, and he can land on your team, and the cost doesn't matter. You're able to make it happen. He's the type of player that you do trade for. But I don't think it's within the cards. Like I said, Brandon Ayuk's injury is too much. You would have to move off of him. The Commanders would have to do the 49ers favor, saying, hey, let's take that salary. If I'm the Commanders and I end up having to trade McLaurin, I'd rather go to another team and be like, hey, do you got a wide receiver? Sure, not as good as McLaurin, but do you have someone that's number 1, fringe number 2, and you give us something more? If I was the Commanders, I would go somewhere else, because the Commanders would have to do the 49ers like a lot of favors to make that happen. It's just not in the cards. And I would love to get them, but it's some people act like the 49ers are the only team that would ever trade for players. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, if I'm the Commanders, man, I'm going somewhere else, because I could probably get something better and something more reliable at that. And I don't have to take on any kind of, crazy contract or anything like that, because that's what would have to happen if you were to trade McLaurin. Because I can't see the 49ers paying Brandon Ayuk and paying Terry McLaurin for the next 2 to 3 years. With $30+ million, man, I think that would be just too much and over the top there. It's not like Terry, and he's not worth that sacrificing cap either, if you were to ask me. So I just don't think it's in the cards. I don't think it's happened. I don't think they should do it. The only way it should happen is if you're able to swap Brandon Ayuk, Commanders take on that the money, whatever, a Brandon Ayuk contract, whatever, and they were able to, turn Terry McLaurin and be like, okay, well, we wiped the slate clean with Brandon Ayuk. We don't owe him anything. So here you go, Terry McLaurin. Here's Brandon Ayuk's contract with a little more money on top, a few million extra dollars a year on top of that. If they could magically make that happen, do it. Absolutely do it. But it's just not possible. Next thing up is the linebacker Jermaine Pratt has been released from the Bengals. Should the 49ers sign Jermaine Pratt? I don't hate it. The dude's older, right? But he led the Bengals in tackles. He could play that Dre Greenlaw role really well. You're not expecting Jermaine Pratt to cover downfield. You have Fred Warner for that. You have D. Winters for that. It's a substitute for, Fred. If you just had Jermaine Pratt play short routes, short zone and stuff like that, down the field, run game and things like that, I think he'd be perfect for the San Francisco 49ers. I think Robert Saleh can work magic with that. If you just don't put him in, intermediate deep route or man-to-man coverage type situations. If you keep him that Dre Greenlaw role where he's just, short field kind of type stuff down the field, I think he'll be fantastic. 1 year. And worst comes to worst, he'd be depth. Like even if people think that Nick Martin's could be better, you're just gonna, you push Nick Martin down the depth or D Winters or whatever, you add significantly better depth. Like the depth of Jermaine Pratt, I think would be great. I think it'd be very beneficial to the San Francisco 49ers. You just can't ask him to do coverage stuff. That's, and I think Robert Saleh can truly work with that. I really wouldn't mind signing him unless he wants like a ton of money. Like if he wants a lot of money, then no, I wouldn't put it out there. But if he wants a couple $1 million, right, take a flag on him, see if it works. And if it doesn't work out, just cut him, when the 90-man cuts happen, right? Like if it doesn't work out there, I think it's someone worth it because I can't imagine him costing a lot of money. I can't imagine him, demanding a lot or something like that. So it's not going to be crazy or anything. It's not going to hinder the cap to take a shot on Jermaine Pratt to have that down the hill linebacker role. So I think the 49ers should go out and potentially sign Jermaine Pratt. I would not hate it. I would think it's more of a positive than it is a negative in that situation. Because at the very least, like I said, you get a good depth piece that's down the hill linebacker. So next up, you have the last one here. Actually, not next up. The last one here to talk about is Jair Alexander being cut from the Packers. Don't want to trade for him. He's got some injury issues, but when he's on the field, man, he's one of the best corners in the league. Not top 3, I wouldn't even say top 5, but he's definitely a top 10 corner in this league. You could argue that for sure. He's going to want a new contract wherever he goes, and it's kind of like the McLaurin thing. I don't think the 49ers can afford to pay him that much money because right now the highest paid corner is $30 million. He's probably going to want somewhere between $20 and $30 million right now. You just got Bryce Huff, who you traded for the D-line, and you're paying him $8 million. But the point is you're taking on contract for the future years, the next 2 years with Bryce Huff. But like you have to take on more for Jair Alexander, and he would technically be your second corner because Lenore would be your number 1. And realistically speaking, not every team is going to have, 3 number 1 through 32 corners, 1 through 64 corners. That's just not realistic. You have a number 1 corner, which is 132. You have a number 2, which is 1 through 64. And then your number 3 corners, 1 through 94. Upton Stout, Canteen, Luter Jr., Avery, all those corners we picked up, they just need to be a 1 through 94 corner, which I think is very possible for one of these guys to step up and be one of those dudes, especially under Robert Saleh, who I trust significantly. I trust that man a lot. I think he'd work magic with that. I mean, look what the corners did over with the Jets, man. The Jets had corner depth like crazy, players you never even heard of, like Michael Carter and stuff like that, and they just popped off. I trust Robert Saleh to get the most out of these corners and for them to perform at least 1 through 94, not 96, right? That's what you're asking. You don't need 3 number 1s. You don't need 3 1 through 64 corners. That's just not realistic. And if the 49ers sign him, I would love it. Same thing with McLaurin. If they somehow made it happen, I'll be all for it. But I just don't think it's in the cards. I think he's going to ask a lot of money. He's going to want to go somewhere else where a team is desperate for a corner and Super Bowl contenders, such as the Ravens. They need another corner. They would probably pay someone like that, someone that Jair Alexander needs. The Buffalo Bills desperately need a corner. That would be one that would fill their needs as well. There's more suitable teams for Jair Alexander than he is for the 49ers. That's just the realistic aspect of things. Like, if you were to sign out Jair Alexander, I think it kind of forces the issue. That's what I think. If the 49ers didn't have Lenore or Renardo Green, I'd be like, yeah, we desperately need a corner. You pay the guy, go out there and get it because we need it. So I just think there's more suitable teams out there that are going to need him more or are going to be willing to pay whatever he's going to ask, etc. I think that's what's going to happen there. Not to mention, Jair Alexander is a bit of a drama queen, and I don't actually want that. I don't want that on the team. I don't want any friction. I don't want any issues. And in the past, Jair Alexander has talked shit about the 49ers, so I don't want that juju either. So I'm not even into that either. Like, I think we should stay away from him personally, but like, if you got him like on a 1-year deal, cheap contract, then hell yeah, go for it. I mean, Super Bowl windows and the way we can handle whatever crybaby stuff he has for 1 year to be our, like, for sure. But that's not the case with Jair Alexander. He's going to want a few-year contract. He's going to want a shit ton of money. And some teams, and this is kind of like a little tidbit thing, I think we can be Super Bowl contenders. I don't think we are. I think that there's potential to be there, but I don't think we are. That's not the expectation of this team. He's going to want to go somewhere that's actually a Super Bowl contender, like the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs even, or the Ravens, one of those top 3 teams. If I'm Alexander, who need a corner, who actually desperately need a corner and who are willing to pay him. So I just don't think it's in the cards for that to happen. I don't think they should sign Alexander, and I don't think Jair Alexander will actually go to the 49ers. Jermaine Pratt, I would take a flyer on him, of course. I mean, like, if he's a cheap contract, 1-year guy, older dude, just have him be your downhill linebacker on one and 2 downs and stuff like that, then I'll be all for it. Go ahead and give him a shot. At least the worst that could happen is that he's not good, too slow, can't play the position, doesn't work with Robert Saleh, and you cut him at the 90-man spot. That's what happened. The McLaurin thing is just not realistic. That it would be awesome, but he wants a new contract with $30+ million, and that's just not going to happen. That's just not realistic in my eyes. I mean, it would have to go. A lot of things would have to go the 49ers' way. The Commanders would have to do a lot of favors for the 49ers by taking on Brandon Ayuk's contract. Jaden Daniels would have to go to Adam Peters, like, please give me my best friend. Please give me Brandon Ayuk. Take on that contract. I'll make sure he does great. I'll make sure he's not a drama queen and there's no issues or anything like that. Please. That's what would have to happen. That's what Jaden Daniels would have to do with Adam Peters. So a lot of things would have to go the 49ers' way to get McLaurin. So let me know what you guys think. Should the 49ers sign one of these players? Go trade out for McLaurin. I would love to hear it. And, we don't agree on everything. So if you disagree with me, man, I still respect your opinion. And be sure to hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. You guys are awesome. You guys help this channel go where it goes. It's nothing without you, every single one of you guys. And the more we grow, the more this wolf pack grows and the more howlers we have, which it's like the dream of mine. And you guys make that. This has just been a phenomenal roller coaster. And we're growing every single day, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome, and it's been great vibes, from the start to now. So please sure hit that like button, sub if you haven't subbed already, be part of the wolf pack, be a howler, and of course, every single like makes my 49ers heart grow from here to here. All love, fam. I'll see you next vid. Bang bang, not a gang, baby.